Hi, Camila. It's nice to have you here.
Hi, nice to have you too.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, of what you do? I know I introduced you, but I know you have a hell of a lot more into what you do than what I just said.
Yeah, well, I start early working, right? At 16, actually 15, but when everything really started, I was 16 with modeling.
Mm.
So basically that was my big job, my big career that brought me here to Hong Kong. So I started with 16. I lived in Sao Paulo for modeling with the agency called Elite Model Look, Elite Model Management, and I had contract with them, and I started working there in São Paulo before I start traveling. And yeah, I did travel for a few years, and since I came to Hong Kong, I really loved this city. I fell in love for Hong Kong, and here I am, almost 14 years.
Wow. Well, and
Yeah.
and my podcast, Real Talk, I bring expert like yourself because I wanted to teach women on how to be true self and then go after their dream. And um, me and you, we spoke before. My story is a little bit that all my life I was like was told what to do, personally and professionally. So I grew up, didn't really finish school, and it was like getting married, having kids, and be a mother and be a wife. So I didn't even think about career. I didn't think about working or anything like that until I got divorced, and now I have two kids, single mother, and I decided, oh my God, I'm in a country that I couldn't speak English. I didn't have no money. I had no friends. What do I do now? Not only I had to do that, but I also had to think about who am I and what are my purposes in this world, and how can I just fit into this world and know who I am. And because of that, to make long story short, I became an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years, and then, raised my kids as a single mother, and then decided to become a life coach to teach other women to go after their dreams and be their true self, and not so much worry about the upbringing, the religion, the culture. More importantly, the society expectation, what society expects us to do. So that's why I have you over here. Now, my question to you is that, did you always wanted to be a model?
Yeah, to be honest, I always been kind of artistic, right? I was
Okay.
never really shy when I was a kid. I loved acting, I loved dancing, and it was just natural for me, you
Mhm.
know? And when came up the idea of, oh, you should try modeling, because for being, a young girl, tall, skinny, and, people say, you're so pretty, you should try. So this kind of opened my mind, and I got interested. So yeah, then I searched for it. I looked for it. It was nobody went there and found me. I actually, with my mom, we were, approaching the agency. So that's how I got into the first competition.
Wow. So you are told, and you actually went after you got tuition. Like people told me it's like a confirmation of like, okay, I love being an artist, dancer, and you went to pursue. But the most important thing that you said over here for the listener to know, that even though you were 16 years old, you decided to become a model, but you actually did the work. You went after there and you did all the work, because I don't
Yeah.
want people to think that it was that easy and you just became a model.
No, it wasn't. Actually, it was not like out of the blue. Like, uh, you know, this kind of industry is a little bit tricky. People try to trick you all the time. Like, there was like these businesses in my town that they like, oh, we do, portfolio for models, and then they charge you a lot of money for these not professional photos and things like this. So yeah, we got caught up on those things before, but it was until then I really looked for the serious agency, modeling agency from Sao Paulo, and then I signed up for the competition and I was finalist. So yeah.
So I have young listeners in this podcast, and I get question asked a lot, and people ask me, well, what is happiness mean to you? Me and you, we talked, and you're so beautiful, and you're a personal trainer, and you actually took your dream and pursued it as a career. So just tell us a little bit about what does happiness mean to you?
Well, happiness to me is definitely do what you love.
Mm.
And yeah, I really work with what I love. And I feel like, you know, even some days, you know, everyone struggle, you know, you have your up and down, but I feel like I really do what I love. You know, I wouldn't imagine myself doing anything else than what I do,
So
because that it really brings happiness to my heart. So yeah.
that's so nice. So there's a lot of people, like a lot of women. I don't know. Well, me and you, we're in a group that a lot of entrepreneurs there's. How is that this when people get to this road of like, okay, I got this job, I gotta make money, I gotta pay my bills, but it's not my dream job. It's not my passion. Some people don't even have their purpose and passion till late in life, like myself. And then I'm sure a lot of women, they're like working, they're making money. Some of them don't, have a good jobs and making good money, but they're not happy in their job. And they have this passion that they wanted to do, but what is stopping them that, oh, I'm too old, oh, I don't know if I should do this, or I don't know if I can do this, I need more education, I have to go to school again. What would you say to those women? They should just continue doing their work, or should they
I
just
think I think you have to work towards it. It doesn't matter what is gonna take you to work towards it, right? Like when I start modeling, I had to stop school because that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to travel and I wanted to take my career seriously. So I had to drop school. And then when I was about 25, I decided, okay, I really need to finish my high school, because if I want to, study later, do a college, university course or anything, I need to have my high school degree, right?
mm-hmm.
So it's hard because after a few years without studying, and in your 20s, you don't want to go back to
Right.
study, right? It was hard, but I had to do it. So I had to study by myself my last uh, years of high school for 1 year, so I could go back to Brazil and take this test, which would give me my high school diploma. Yeah, so I had to go back to all those things that you study in school, and study all over again for 1 year all by myself. Luckily at that time we already had internet and Google, so it helped me a lot. And then yeah, so I had to go back. That's when I got my diploma, my high school, and I decided to study marketing. Yeah, so it's just, you have to do whatever it takes,
Wow.
like sometimes you're not happy with what you're doing, but you're working towards that, right? And to be honest, with the modeling career, it's not all the time flowers, it's not all the time what people think it is, is hard. Some jobs are tough. um, Not all the time you make money,
Mm.
unfortunately. I was not, let's say maybe lucky enough, I don't know, to be a top model or to be a high rank model to make those big contracts, big money. But sometimes it's really hard,
Mm.
so sometimes I would think like, should I keep doing this, because I'm not making money enough. And you feel down sometimes because you don't know what's going to happen, right? You see, I would see a lot of friends like, with a proper, like a job, maybe a lawyer or things like this, and I would think like, I'm here, I'm a model, I'm not a big model, like a top model. I'm not making enough money to, so, but I didn't let these negative thoughts take over. I would just
Right.
try to do what I could do it. That's all.
Yeah, this is so good that what you said, because um a lot of people think that back in the days, right? So back in the days, people, men and women, they're like, a good jobs are like titles that we are familiar with. If you're a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, those are like actual jobs. Okay. So
Yeah.
I had a woman from all over the world that I talked to, but artists pay. Like I had a woman, like she's from France, and she was 19 years old when she started to do a painting, and she had a lot of passion for that, but she was put down so much because her own parents were telling like, you are like a drawing, like that's not a career, you know, that's not a career. Dancing is a hobby, it's not a career. Modeling is a hobby, it's not a career. So we were taught through the generation and generation. So like back in the days, if you would say I'm a model, people wouldn't take you seriously. Well, do you go to school and then you have to have a proper title in order to be successful? And
Yeah.
that's why a lot of women put their dream aside because, oh, by society is not accepted. And like you said, the income, the money, I'm not going to make enough money by society's not accept. If I say to someone that I'm a model, they're like, oh, well, that's nice. But if you say to somebody that if I'm a lawyer, then they're like, oh, wow, oh, that's nice, because the credential and all those title people give us,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
people see as, you know, that title, it gives you that credibility, like you are smarter, you're more intelligent,
Right.
you know. And yeah, it's kind of, sometimes you would put me, you know, in a situation where I would think like, oh my God, maybe I should really think if I want to study and be a lawyer, or, but it wasn't me, you know, like I
Yeah.
didn't see myself doing any of these, you know. So yeah, so you have to do what is your passion and just work towards. Sometimes, I don't know, like I have to work in this restaurant here because I want to make enough money so I can do this and that. And you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You have to you have to do it, you know. To
Yeah.
be honest, I have done so many things. I've been a hostess in restaurant, you know,
Me too.
for a whole 1 year, and I have organized events. I have done so many different modeling jobs, like very good ones. I worked for, you know, well-renowned brands like Chanel, Hermes, Dior, and I have done really like simple jobs too. You know what I mean? So I just, it's a learning process. You know,
Right.
you meet people, and it just gives you so much experience.
Yeah, yeah. I've done the
Yeah.
same thing that you have done. When I started as a waitress, I was a waitress, I was a bartender, I was a hostess, I was a babysitter, I cleaned houses. My jobs were, those are the things that I did because I couldn't speak the language at the time. But then I became an entrepreneur, so I opened up my own restaurants. And I remember, I got to tell you a story. I remember one restaurant I was working in, and I wanted to open my own restaurant, but my goal was to become a life coach and then teach women all over the world to pursue their passion and break the rule of the society, what is a good job for you and what is not, by the society. So that was really my goal all my life. So I had to make money and raise my kids. But I remember one time, this guy, he was said to me, he's like, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You should get a real job. You're a mother, you're getting older, you know, you're not getting any more younger. And I don't know why you are going after this. Nobody knows what life coach is. Nobody this. And I never would forget that day. And I just register because I have the money and I have the restaurant, I'm making money, but I'm just going to get my certification. And I register for the school because I got to go get my credential there. But he's like, you're wasting your time. Why are you wasting your time doing this? I'm like, that's my passion. He's like, yeah. But you know what? You got to put a food on the table. You got to take care of your kids. You got to make money. That's what's important. And those kind of messages actually put a lot of women down.
Does, yeah,
You know, and
it
like you
does.
said, you want to be a model and you waitress and you host and whatever. You said, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. But people look at you like, what are you, crazy? Go get a real job, you know? And that's
Yeah.
why it's so messed up that so many girls, they give up their dream because their parents, their siblings, their, friends telling them like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're doing, especially if it takes longer time, right? Because you said for the longest time, you didn't make money.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I think people just have to do their research too, you know, like when you decide to do something, a lot of times it's because people are telling you.
Mm.
It's not because you really want to, you know. So just go do your research, make sure you want to do that. What are the tools you need to be able to achieve that? Like, what is the way for you to work on it, you know? And people, I mean, you always have to nowadays we're so lucky we have internet, right? You can take this advantage and do this research, look and follow people that you admire, right? It gives you, you learn with it and gives you that hope and strength, right? As well.
Yeah, because back in the days, but when you started it, it wasn't like that. We had to go to the library and actually pick a book and learn about it. Would you
Oh,
answer
yeah.
my question? If somebody wants to start a pursue their passion, and like you said, do your research, do your research. Do you have so many resources available that you can go do your research? Speaking of role model, did you have a role model in mind? Like, do you have a role model?
Oh, for yeah, I have so many. I have so many. I have one for each thing.
Right.
For modeling, I always like Gisele Bündchen, not just
Oh,
because she's Brazilian and the #1 top model in the world. I think she's a real world model, right? Like how
wow.
everything started, you know, how when she started, clients just think she was not pretty enough. You know, she was, you know, this nose, her nose was not the tiny, you know, doll nose. She had like a little different nose, a little bigger compared to the other girls. Like not just the very perfect, but she's so beautiful, right? And she became, I mean, worldwide model, and I like her as a role model. And in the fitness industry, I have a few as well that I like to follow and I admire them. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's important because I think having a role model, it just makes you give you that comfort. Somebody else went through what you went through, and they become like, so my role models are always, I always tell my clients and my students, like, picture someone that you really admire. And if they can do it, you can do it too, you know? Like,
yeah,
especially that's number one. And the other thing is that if you have a role model, you can almost, like, every successful people leave a breadcrumb behind, you know, like you can see where they
yeah,
started it and where they went, and then you can just follow and see and say, wow, it's not that easy. And this is why I wanted to talk to you about all of this, because me and you, we spoke about this. Your industry is just so critical because all you get criticized for your look, for your the way, you know, all the stuff matters. Because I know a little bit about modeling, because I know you look, your self image to them is important, obviously the personality and all that, but that comes first. And you just did it despite how much criticism you got, right?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I think as soon as people meet you as well and see your, you know, of your personality, your character, as they change, you know, they
Yeah,
change
yeah.
their mind. But you know, it's this thing of human being. People just love judging before they really meet the person, you know, and know how they really are. Uh, Nowadays with the social media and all, it's very easy to judge too, you know, through the
Right.
pictures and how people not really real and clear, because you know you can just be someone, you know, behind the camera and be a completely different person, right? So but working with people, uh, that's what I love, right? I love working with people. So modeling, dancing, personal training, I'm always with people, and they just, they start admiring for who you are, you know.
Right.
So that's why I always, I've learned a lot, you know, in these years, but I think you always have to be humble, and I think that's very important.
But how did you handle criticism? You started at such a young age. Like, do you have a technique? Do you like meditate? Do you like self-talk yourself to it? Did you have a friend to talk to? Do you see therapist? How did you like say to yourself, okay, that is those people, and differentiate that from actually going after your goal and staying focused on it?
Yeah. You know, people see me, oh, you know, you're model, you're tall, you're pretty, but I got a lot of criticism too, you know, like I
Right.
wasn't a lot of time the right one for the job, you know, it was maybe something wrong with me, you know, and you just cannot take it personal, you know, you can't take it personal, because if you do, you you find yourself somehow depressed, because you know you can't take it personal,
Right.
because
Just to remind
it's,
yourself.
it can hurt, right?
Right.
You just have to think of yourself being almost like a product, let's say, you know, like, okay, I wasn't I wasn't good for that specific job, you know, and not you as a person, you know, why they didn't like me, you know. Yeah, you can't think like that because otherwise you get depressed.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's tricky, you know. I had to learn this already so young, but
Yeah.
that was how I felt safe, you know.
Uh,
That made me feel safe because I was, you know, by myself, like without family. With 16, I was already living in Europe, you know,
right.
and having to get strong, you know, stronger every day.
I can't imagine. That's such a young age. I can't imagine
I
because
didn't think I was that young, you know, but nowadays I was like, oh my God, I was really young, 16. You know what I mean?
I
Like now
know.
it's different, but back then I thought I was mature enough to do what I was doing, you know. But I always had the voice of my mom back in my head all the time. I
Oh,
think that
good, good.
to have a, you know, a good family and a good mother.
Right, right, right. Well,
Yeah.
mine was my coping mechanism was that every time I would get upset and doubt myself, um, I was like, I think in a survival mode, and I was young and courageous. And you know, when you're young, you're like stupid. You take something seriously, but then you forget, you get distracted. And I say to myself, even till now, thank God I was young. I went through all that shit. Because if you are like right now, you know, because as we get older, we analyze stuff, we rationalize the stuff so much. And that's what
Yeah.
creates all those self doubt and everything. But when you're young, yes, it's hard, but at the same time, it's also good because people are so, like when you're young, you have so much courage. Oh yeah, 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 you said that. And even if you go back and forth and have a confrontation, but you move on. As we grow up,
Yeah.
that's when we take everything so seriously. It's like, oh my God, it bothers me because you're telling me that I'm not doing good and I'm not, you know, I'm not. And that's how the depression and the stress and everything presses you down. So it's
Yeah.
hard. Yeah, you have to have a
Yeah, it's hard. It's sometimes you just, I, you know, you get down a little bit, like you feel down, but then you just move on, you know, just move on, think about something different, do what makes you happy, you know. Like for me, I, I go work out, you know, I go work out, and then I love it because that's my stress relief for sure.
any type of activity. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
I saw an interview of Denzel Washington, and one of the questions they asked him, like, how do you when you go to your character, some of the characters are very like, you know, not your personality because they had to put this persona going on the stage and then recording the movie. And he said he would write a note and then he would put it by the door, leaving that who he was. He write a little note about himself. I am this, 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 this. So he would go, and then when he would come back home, he would look at the note just to remind himself that, you know, I'm not that character. I am this. Because after a while, when you do that a lot, you become that person, especially if the character is something that is, you know. So I thought that was very unique, some skill that people learn, because between the job and the personal life and the criticism and being on the camera and on the stage, so it's very important to remind yourself of who you are. And like you said, and you said it perfectly, you thought about it as yourself, I'm a product. So I'm going over there, I'm a product. When I come home, it's me, it's Camila, I'm a person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And you
those
need
little things help.
some, yeah, sometimes clients, you know, you can be yourself, but sometimes you cannot, you know.
Yeah,
You need to know when to really be yourself and when you have to step back and try to be, I don't know, maybe more professional, let's say, you know. uh, so you can be safe, you know, mentally too, and in your heart too, because you don't want to take things too serious after, you know, feel sad if something happened that you didn't like it, you know.
right. Well, now that you're in a position that you can accomplish so much and you do so much right now and you're in such a great shape. So how do you balance like the work life and personal life because you're in a different country, you have a husband, you're working. What are some tips you have to give other women entrepreneurs to keep their self like balance?
Definitely, I think you need to take care of your body, mind, spirit. You know, like you have to, because this world is going crazy, right? It's
Right.
going insane, and you need to take care of your body. You know, it's something that will give you confidence, and you feel good about yourself if you have activities, you know, whatever it is, just find something you like to do. Yeah, it's, if it's dance, if it's swimming, if it's CrossFit, if it's yoga, whatever, is just do something that gives your body, you know, this moving, you know, and you feel you have this, get this strength of moving and keep your heart healthy. Yeah, so exercising is very important and something that everyone should do it, even if your life is very hectic, family, career, work. Make time for working out. Whatever it is, Muay Thai, anything.
Right.
Mind, it's, you know, a lot of people today they do meditation, right?
Right.
I find my mind, spirit with my religion, you know, so I find that I need to, you know, study the Bible more or pray more, so that gives me this, you know, makes my spirit stronger. Yeah. And
Calmness.
yeah, so you need to do a little bit of everything to find balance in life.
To put yourself first, to take care of yourself first. You said it perfectly, because when you said mind, body, and soul, that's what I teach, because I always say that you are a soul and your mind and body as a vehicle for your soul to experience the world. So in order to have those vehicle right to experience the world, you must, like you said, exercise to keep your physical body going. I do exercise, not as much as you do, because I know you're like a personal trainer, but I do as much as I can. And for my mind, I do meditation because I wanted to, I mean, sorry, for my soul, I do meditation because that just kept me in the mind. I just remind myself that as togetherness is of the universe, you know, all other people, we are one and we're just together in this universe, and we should be kind to each other. We should give love to each other. We should support each other, understand each other, accept each other the way we are. And for my mind, I actually do, I give advice, like do some type of like a reading, like, you know, something that is like pleasure reading to stimulate your mind, or like playing game, or listening to the music, or like something, so your mind doesn't have to always be like, okay, I have to get up, work, take care of the kids and, you know, my partner, and then go to sleep. So for stimulation of mind, sometimes I actually take actual book, not on a computer, because then you're looking at the screen again. Actual book,
Yeah.
I read, or like I listen to the music or something to stimulate my mind, body, exercise, and soul. I do meditation because my religion, like I love all religion. I study about all the religion and I respect them a lot. But that gives me a little bit calmness too. So I do that every single day to keep a balance in my life. And you said the same thing. That's really what people should do. Put themselves first. Do take care of
Yeah.
that, and then everything else comes in, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you be, you know, how can you be taking care of others, right? How can you take care of your family? You know, I'm not a mother, but I would think that you are the role model for your kids, right? So
Yeah.
you need to be that hero, right, for your
Right.
kids, that work at home or work outside and take care of the family, but it's, you know, and take care of the family in different ways too, not just take care of the house, but, you know, I think every family need to have some kind of spirituality too, you know what I mean? Because I think that's what it's missing in families nowadays, you know.
Yeah. Like some
Yeah.
type of a faith. spirituality, you know, believing in religion, whatever that is, you know, whatever that is
Whatever
that's here.
it is. Yeah, yeah. If you're Catholic, if you're Christian, if you're Buddhist,
Yeah,
right? I think we have to respect religion, but you know, yeah, I think this is important
faith.
for you and for everyone.
Yeah, because faith makes you going. Well, Camila, this was such a wonderful timing with you, and thank you so much for like answering some of my question that a lot of women ask us, because I want people to see and hear you, because you are such an inspiration to other people, that you went after your dream, and your industry is such a critical industry that people get, you know, criticism toward that, and you get judged all the time, but you, even though despite that, you broke through that and then went after your goal and you did it and you're so successful. So I want other people to hear your story so they can be inspired and say, hey, listen, I can do it too, because she's doing it, I can do it too. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My final declaration here is just to just really do what you love, and if you cannot do it yet, work towards it, right? Because if you're happy, everyone around you, you're gonna just overflow that happiness, right? And that's what we need today in our
Amen.
society. Yeah.
Amen to that. Thank you, Camilla.
Thank you.